Climate change is one of the biggest environmental challenges facing the world right now. Africa, although contributing the least, is the most vulnerable continent to the effects of climate change.
Of a letter from the future. Hey Africans, if you're listening to this, you're approaching the latter days of 2022. The Institute for Economics and Peace has just released a report that much of sub-Saharan Africa will be unsustainable come 2050. Good news, it did not happen in 2050. Bad news, climate change succeeded in ravaging the world, and yes, Africa was the first worst hit. How do I know this? I'm writing to you from a Russian colony in Mars, and I'm not Russian. My blood, it bleeds black, red, and green. But Russia was one of the 7 regions in the world with spaceflight capabilities and willing to offer African countries 4 spots each on their spacecraft. As you can imagine, it's not pretty. Not Mars. Mars is as fine as a new planet can be. But the fact that out of 1.3 billion Africans, only 224 made it out. And by make it out, I mean barely. Because these countries, they prioritize their citizens as they had every right to do. Please, I beg of you, do not just focus your effort on mitigating climate change. Think of solutions to a future where these efforts fail, so that I never have to write this letter.
Hello everyone. Hello Africa. My name is Fabius Mlongo from Nairobi, Kenya. We all understand the dire effects that climate change brings to our beautiful Mother Africa, and we should all play our part in protecting Mother Africa from climate change. In my space as a young person in Africa, I'm ensuring that I do the needful. I have my own foundation, which is called the Fabius Mlongo Foundation, which is empowering young people with green skills. We are ensuring that we are planting more than 20,000 trees within our community, in primary schools, in secondary schools, as well as the higher institutions of learning. We believe that this is one of the activities that will help in safeguarding Mother Africa from the dire effects of climate change. Thank you so much.
Mutozi Chani Africa, greetings Africa. My name is Charity Mkeleba Nyambe, a 21-year-old youth advocate living in Lusaka, Zambia, and I have a dream. A dream to one day live in a gender coexistive society that is climate resilient and youth participatory, meaningfully youth participatory. As the Earth is facing a triple planetary crisis of climate disruption, nature and biodiversity loss, pollution and waste, a triple burden is placed upon women and girls simultaneously. Pertinently, realizing that gender equality is at the core of effective climate action is imperative. In my advocacy work, under a personal initiative known as Access Change, I work to build capacity in young people, particularly young women and girls, on how to be climate change resilient in their day-to-day lives, as well as how to adopt innovative social entrepreneurial habits that are sustainable. It is sad that in this day and age, there's people living in remote communities that don't even know what climate change is and how it is affecting their day-to-day struggles. Additionally, I also volunteer at organizations such as Restless Development Zambia, UNICEF Zambia, and MIET Africa under the Future Life Now program as a youth volunteer, where I conduct outreach activities to capacity build community members on these pertinent thematic areas.
Hello, my name is Clara Benjamin from Tanzania. I'm a climate change advocate. My journey started with community action and raising awareness. During my weekends and holidays, I was volunteering in different non-governmental organizations which are dealing with various environmental activities like raising awareness concerning climate change adaptation and mitigation, raising awareness about solid waste management, as well as planting trees and beach cleanups. Currently, I'm fighting against climate change through advocacy. I'm an advocate champion in the climate program called the Girl Action on Climate Change, which is implemented by Tanzania Girl Guide Association. The objective of the program is to address the importance of incorporating gender equality in fighting against climate change, as well as helping girls and young women to have their voices heard, since they are the ones who are more vulnerable to the climate change effects. So let's come together and cooperate to fight this common enemy. Thank you.
Hi, I myself as a climate activist, this is my area of interest. I advocate for awareness of the current global climate crisis through my social media pages. I take part in tree planting and wetland restoration. We visit various schools and plant trees using seed balls and seedlings. We organize seminars and webinars where we discuss on the progress we've made and what still needs to be done. I personally changed my lifestyle and I use reusable bottles. I eat organic and I walk more areas where which are near places. I use public transport whenever I can. In our Kenyan culture, we reuse containers a lot. Like if you buy a product with container, use the same container to store food in the fridge, and it's also helping the environment.
We are resilient. Yes, we are. For remaining hopeful of getting employed after waiting for over a decade. For remaining hopeful of getting a platform to perform a point reward for your country out of patriotism. In the comfort of our homes, we run the toughest rate of in our mind. Ebefa, see, even Fafali is depressed. Our pillows are soaked with tears of our inability to pay bills. Our head aches from the daily disappointment we face. Knowing very well that your country's payroll is full, nothing, absolutely nothing, prevents you from becoming an able entrepreneur, but your capital is locked up somewhere due to someone's mistakes and only Jah knows when it will be released. What isn't fair is going backward to complete tertiary education, but the requirement for the available job is a 5-year working experience. Always trying to be ahead. Talent rendered useless. Potentials not seen in system structure not to suit purpose. Right from infancy, we are embodied with the 7 C's of resilience. With competence, we confidentially contribute to establishing positive connections, hoping in an unfavorable environment with distinctive character to control our world. We make conscious and unconscious efforts to reduce the rate of violence and corruption and mobilize basic amenities. How resilient are Africans? Very, 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 very resilient. Because on an empty stomach we invent, on a barren land we cultivate, in the cloudy atmosphere we fly, from the waste we remodel, from our past we learn, towards our future we march on. In our archives, we read books that speak volumes of resilience. Indeed, Africa was built on resilience. Just to make our mamas proud, we strive, we excel, we sail through. To the fallen colleagues, we stretch forth our hands to help. To the shattered, we give reasons to revive. And just because there is a great desire to plug everyone with the message, we definitely make it. We become the best version of ourselves with flexibility and character. It hasn't been easy, but in resilience, we march on, even when stretched to the breaking point. We practice our skills and knowledge with confidence, ever ready to learn from mistakes and share achievements. We are ready to give our all to the society, though we haven't received what is meant to be ours. Confidence is not innate. Competence grows through experience. We are ready to learn and adapt. I salute all African youth striving hard to put Africa at the top, because it is because of African youth that Africa is beyond aid. Thank you.